I want to do some fun personal stuff now. Um, the origin of what the temporary name of this show is, which is Ice Cream Fork, came. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ice Cream Fork.
That's it too.
Welcome to Ice Cream Fork. It's memorable, right? You're gonna be like, what is going on that show? So the impetus of that name comes from my beautiful bride up there, who is always providing. She's my muse. She's always providing me with ideas and things to ruminate. And she'll come up to me. We'll be walking the dogs, and she'll say, this is a good idea for your next episode. So Ice Cream Fork. I have, I should say, we have some things in our lives that are used in, let's say, an unorthodox fashion, a fashion for which they were not originally intended. So I'm going to ask you guys if you have that as well. But we came up with 4 that we have that are kind of weird. So the first one topping the list, which has vexed my wife and family for years now, is the ice cream fork. And your reaction to that is probably, well, neither one of you. Well, Ken, you're kind of like, what are you talking about? Dee's like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. This was born from me not wanting to dirty up an extra bowl. I want 2 or 3 bites of ice cream. I'm down sitting in the living room by myself, kids in bed, wife's upstairs reading. I'm watching The Wire, and I just want a few bites of ice cream. I don't want to wash another dish, so I get the ice cream container and a fork, because when you pull the ice cream out of the freezer, it's frozen hard as a rock, and you can't get a spoon into it, but a fork will slide right down in there and pry it right on out. And my wife thinks that's crazy, but I just looked it up the other day when I was
with a spoon because it starts to melt, and you need something to cradle that melted goodness as it goes into your mouth. Not a
well,
fork.
it doesn't
It's
last that
ridiculous.
long with me.
Hey, hey, just use both.
Well,
When it's
yeah,
time for the
there you
melted
go.
ice cream, just pull the spoon out.
Right. Well, it's funny that you say that, Dee, because when I was prepping for this, I actually Googled, is there such a thing as an ice cream fork? And guess what? The Victorians, of course, uh, had a special, it was a spork. It was the world's first spork before KFC had it.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, fork. I was just about to say that.
So maybe, honey, that's what we should get. Instead of me just doing a one-trick pony with the ice cream fork and you just going with the spoon because you can scoop up your melted goodness, maybe we need the Victorian ice cream spork. So anyway, that's where that came from. The next on my list is taco glove. Now, I have an issue with smells. If you've ever worked in close proximity in an office with other people, or if you've traveled, if you've ever done outside sales, anything like that, the number one rule of outside, or one of the top rules of outside sales, is don't walk into somebody else's office that you're trying to sell something to and smell like something. Don't smell like lunch, don't smell like cologne, don't have bad breath, all that kind of stuff. And so when you eat stinky food and you get it on your hands and you're not able to wash it off of there, it's a whole thing with me. So we get a taco kit every week from Sam's that has, the tacos are fantastic, but the mole that they cook the meat in, when it gets on, it's oily. So when it gets on your skin, it stays there for days and you can't wash it off. So my wife buys me a box of latex gloves once a month, and I use them strictly for eating my tacos. I put one glove on my taco eating hand and pull it off when I'm done, and I have no smells on my hand. So that's the taco glove. So we have ice cream fork taco glove. And in our house, Meredith just came up with a new one the other day. We now have in our house the popsicle cup. So she said I was crazy for eating ice cream with a fork, but she eats popsicles because she has cold sensitivity on her teeth. So she will take the fudge sickle that I get, the sugar-free fudge sickles that I get, and carve them off the stick, put them in a Tervis tumbler, and microwave it, and that's her popsicle
And
cup.
eat it with a
So,
spoon.
and she eats it with a spoon. So we have a designated taco cup. And finally, on my list,
Sorry, taco cup.
and this is a
Popsicle
must
cup.
for traveling as well, is we have reading pillows. And what the hell is a reading pillow, you might ask? We both have Kindles and we both read at night in bed. And the Kindles we have a special cover that folds out and props up so you can so you don't have to hold on to the thing. And so when you're lying there in bed and you have this thing on your chest, it's kind of a pain. You have to tuck the chin down and read like this. So we both have designated reading pillows that we prop on our chests and prop the Kindle on top of the pillows. And when we travel, that's one of the things that we have to look for. Does the hotel or the Airbnb have extra pillows lying around that we can use for reading pillows? So I ask you to, D, we'll start with you. Do you have anything in your life that you use that's an ordinary, mundane product that you use in an unusual, unorthodox fashion?
I don't know if it's unordinary, but when I eat Oreo cookies, I used to dip it in the milk. I used to use a spoon a spoon, not spoon, but a fork. I would stick it through the middle of the Oreo, and I would dip it in the milk that way. But then recently I found out, one of my friends, her mom told me she uses a spoon. So she sits a cookie on top of the spoon and she puts the spoon inside the milk. That way it soaks up the milk and also has milk at the bottom of the spoon. So when you eat it, you have a little extra milk when you bite
Oh,
into it.
that's
But
legit.
I
That's
guess
legit.
you're right. I never thought about it that way, but it's funny. Even listening to your stories, it's funny to see the way people think and the different processes of when you're just doing basic everyday life stuff.
Right. You gotta you take something that's thinking outside the box, right? So,
Yep.
and by
Yep.
the way, I just heard not too long ago about the using the fork with the Oreo. So you have an Oreo fork.
Hmm.
There's an Oreo.
Yep.
I have an ice cream fork. You have an Oreo fork, and you better start calling it now. I
Yep.
want credit for that. So, but you stick the fork tines down in the creamy part of the Oreo, right? And then you dunk it in
Yep.
there. Yeah,
Hmm.
nice.
Yep.